Shania Twain on Magic. Love the sun. Love the fact that Thanksgiving's coming up. And, of course, the weekend's coming up as well. With 31 degrees, Mike Barrett in the studio, as he is on Tuesdays at this time. Call Good Policies. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. I'm getting giddy. You know, Thanksgiving is, 2 days away? Should I stop eating now so that I can just gorge myself on Thursday, or should I do what the hot dog competition eaters do and practice and warm up? I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet.
I can tell you, I just found a study online, and this has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about today. But the average American is going to gain 5.5 pounds this holiday season. They don't even care.
No. The cookies are too good to care. Come on.
Yeah, all right.
Give me some pumpkin pie and apple pie and,
stop it.
Just leave the cranberries over there.
Cherry pie. Okay, last week we talked insurable interest, and you've let us know this week we're going to carry on that conversation. Let's see how much I retain.
Well, yeah, and luckily there's not a lot that you need to retain because we're talking. Last week we talked insurable interest. All right, maybe you do, all right? But I'll remind folks we talked insurable interest with property, right? So the example I'll give is mom and dad have decided to put their house in a life estate, and so the kid or kids are now the owners of the house with a life estate for mom and dad who still have the rights of control and everything, but the kids have an ownership stake and are on the deed, and you'll find them if you go to the town offices on the deed, so you want to make sure you protect their insurable interest.
Of course. Okay, So here's a question. There's a lot of folks out there that are getting into car restorations. They finally gotten to a point in their life where they could have that 77 Camaro or the 56 Chevy Nomad or what have you, right?
I got both of those. It's just they're called Hot Wheels.
Me too.
Yeah.
So let's say great-grandpa, grandpa, dad, your brother, whatever, want to gift one of those fine projects off to somebody. Now, we're talking the automotive industry.
There we go.
And how's that work out?
It's a little bit different, but a lot of the same. All right. So again, your real point here is you need to be covering those who have an insurable interest, and it's almost more important for auto insurance. Why? Well, you got to think of the worst case scenario. You're driving down the main road in St. Johnsbury, Lindenville, Lunenburg on Route 2. Doesn't matter where you are. Littleton, right on the main drag. If you run somebody over and hit and kill or change forever their quality of life, there's going to be some serious liability at play there. And so lawyers will probably become involved. And much like with a property policy, the lawyers are going to look and see who owns the car. Who is it? Is it registered to you? Is it your vehicle? Is anyone else registered on it? So when it comes to insurable interest, we want to make sure that anybody who is registered or co-registered on the vehicle is listed. You see some differences there when it's the mom and dad having the kid who owns the car on their policy because they're still dependents. Technically, they can be considered insured under the policy, not a named insured, but an insured. But we're talking about scenarios where you, for example, let's say, hey, Mike, you want to have this car? Here, have it. I'll just pay me, when you can. And so it's still registered to you. It's still Jeff Garfield's vehicle. But I need to insure it because I'm driving it full time. So I would just list you as an additional insured or a co-owner or a co-titled person to make sure that if, God forbid, something horrible happened and you get tied into it, that you have protection under the policy with me.
Okay, so here's an ad. This is the worst case scenario that came into my mind as you were explaining this. Okay?
Sure.
So we have the owner, the primary owner, Bill. Then we have the insured interests name, Tom.
Sure.
Okay. So Bill is driving the car. God forbid something happens, has an accident, somebody's injured, property is damaged. Does this impact the other driver if the original driver succumbs to injuries?
I'm trying to follow the trail here, Jeff.
Okay, so the guy that owns the car, who's willing to give it to somebody else, dies in an accident and causes property damage. How's that handled? Does it go to the second driver?
Yeah. So the person who gave the vehicle, who's a co-owner, is now passed away?
The owner is passed away.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the other insured, do they become responsible for the financial impact to the victim? See, this is why we had a conversation, because somebody may ask this question.
Yeah. So, I mean, the circumstances would play a role here. So how it occurred would be the big thing. Yeah. They could be held liable. But, the biggest thing is to remember that you can't be held liable to yourself, right? So if you are ever in an accident, or the example of if you run into your own garage, you can't use your auto insurance to pay for the garage, nor can you use your home insurance to pay for the car, because that's liability. You can't be liable to yourself. You can be liable to yourself, but no company is going to pay it. You just have to be mad at yourself for that. But, it depends. It's a circumstantial thing. You have to, it depends on how it plays out.
Well, the only reason I asked that question is because, like, when you have a lien on a vehicle, okay, say your mom and dad co-signed for Junior's car,
sure,
okay, and Junior can't make the payment, the co-sign has to. That's what made me think of that.
Yeah, you got to follow the trail. And so the person can certainly be held liable and certainly be needing to have coverage of the policy. So it's just very important that the ownership of the vehicle, whoever it may be, is protected.
Well, and that coverage is proper and enough. Because, I mean, we've talked, a lot of folks think that $50,000 is enough insurance coverage when it comes to property damage with another vehicle, and it just ain't that world no more.
It's not that world anymore. And liability, a lot of people are still driving around with the minimum of state Vermont, $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident. That's the state minimum. That's like a half day in the hospital if you injure somebody, really. I mean, it's not going to get you far. And remember that once your liability is exhausted, it does not mean your liability exposure goes away. It means you become personally liable. So you have basically just not purchased enough frontline protection to make sure that your personal assets don't come into play. So it's very important to think about your liability limits. And I tell people it's more important than ever to think about liability limits, because as people start making difficult decisions with the economy and everything like that, they may be reducing coverage, they may be sacrificing coverage, they may be going without coverage. It's even more important as an insurer that you have the utmost best coverage for you, to make sure you're protecting yourself, because you could be hit by somebody with not enough or no insurance, and you don't want to be caught in a bad situation.
Or, as I've done in the past, I've had the minimal coverage, and then I always prayed to my deity and hoped that would keep me safe. God forbid that anything would happen. So as we've proven this morning, there are a billion different questions that can come up in anyone's mind when it comes to insurance coverage. And if they have questions, how do they get in touch?
You can certainly give us a call. Happy to answer questions at 748-5224. I don't think I've ever given my email out on the air. I don't know why I haven't. It's available. Mike at thebarrettagency.com. I'm happy to respond via email as well. You can find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, where you will also find my email and all of our staff's email. And you can find us on Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All right. And as we wrap it up, we are kicking off the holiday season. We are going to assume you're going to be closed on Thursday.
Yes. We will be closed Thursday and Friday to give our staff extra time to travel and be with family. We'll be back open on Monday. I say we, I'm not sure about me. I'm questionable. I have surgery tomorrow. Minor, nothing serious, don't worry. But I have a recovery period ahead of me, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, that and your laptop at home so you can work 24/7.
That's what I do.
Barrett Insurance Agency, Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Music from Kelsey Ballerini next.